Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Late Night with Cap. And this is JT. How are you doing tonight? I am excited to start over this show in March, and it's going to be fun. So basically, we have a few guests. I have a panel coming on tonight to talk about leprechauns. I'll get here in a minute to basically introduce them. But I got a few announcements that's pretty cool. So I just hit 850 subs. It's really awesome. So thank you to all the new subscribers out there. And so I'm excited that you're here. If you are watching live, so the show goes live every Wednesday, and we are we're usually going to cover some type of mystery type of topic. Like it's either some type of like I said, some type of mystery or some unique thing, and I'm excited to do it. Now, if you've been following me since the beginning, I also thank you. I do appreciate the support in this new endeavor that I'm doing. So let's go ahead and bring on the guest, and we'll go on from there. So first, I want to bring on. He's my friend. He's over there from After the Weekend. I'm excited to have him on. He wants to be involved in this show so much. He's so excited to do it. He just likes to hang out with me, and that's Beard of Liberty. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, you just get so depressed when I'm not around. I can't bear to see it. So, I'm willing to make the sacrifice and hang out with you a little bit more.
I do. I do get you wouldn't believe it. I do miss not talking to you because we only talked 2 days ago, like Monday. Like that's the last time we spoke. So
something like that, yeah.
So I'm glad. Yeah, this will be fun. I'm glad you are wanting to be a part of this type of show, and why we dive deep into the mysteries of the world. So I think this is going to be fun. And then another guest, he said he's Irish, or he said he was mostly Irish. You might have seen him. He was a guest on my show a few months ago. He's really into anime. We had a great discussion about the history of anime. He's head of Animaniacs, and we got Lambercy here. How are you doing, man?
I mean, you caught me right when I was about to go do some. Caught my hand at the cookie jar over here and stuff, but I'll do that in a sec. I am hanging in there.
I'm sorry.
Oh no! I literally just put in the private chat. I'm like, hey, I got to do something. Be right back.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, I'm bringing him in. We're good though.
Do you want me to we could reintroduce?
No, we're good and stuff. I'm Animaniacs. Animaniacs.com. I primarily do a lot of anime stuff, but I like to branch out and have fun with you guys. Some of you guys may know me as a Lambercy show when I used to have multiple shows and stuff, but we moved over to Animaniacs, and now that I have some more free time as I now work from home, I'm looking forward to being able to work with you guys as well as anyone else who's interested.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. I'm excited you're here too. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the wee people over there in Ireland. I can't wait to this. Now, some may think this man's Irish, but apparently he's not. He's German, but he's busy. He's got like 2 movies that he's done himself coming out. And you've seen him on the show before, and we've got Tyler the Redbeard. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I probably look more leprechaun-y than anybody here.
You, Beard kind of looks like a gnome, though.
Yeah, well, leprechauns and gnomes aren't the same. That's very offensive to, I don't know, probably somebody.
I can't believe you would say something like that, JT.
Yeah.
Well,
not all leprechauns are gnomes. I noticed you got a bunch of like clovers behind you there.
I do. You've
Ton, it looks like.
Yeah, I've got a lot of clovers over there, and I forgot to put it on, but I even have. Hope you don't get offended by this, but I do have a hat. So.
I'm also offended by that too. Yes, it doesn't take much to get me offended, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm excited that you're on here as well. Sometimes when we had you on before, you seem to don't believe in anything, so you always kind of you kind of make sure that we're in reality here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited about your movies. Can you talk a little bit about what you've got going on with your 2 movies? I think they're just exciting.
Yeah, well, this first movie that it's called Smell No Evil. It's a parody satire of some recent like apocalyptic movies. Like what's the one that they're making a sequel for? Bird Box is kind of one of them,
Okay.
and a Quiet Place, that kind of thing. And then those kind of cabin in the woods dystopian movies. Anyway, I made that several years ago and finally got it on Amazon a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, that's I've got my little production company,
littlebigmovies.com.
right down there. Yeah, and you can go there and check out the trailer for that one and the one I'm working on right now, which is about like an aging musician trying to get his band back together. But you can see all that, and I've also got a link to the Amazon one if you guys did want to watch it. You can rent or buy it, and all that's just at that littlebigmovies.com is the production company. So yeah, that's keeping me pretty busy. And I also have been rounding up leprechauns in my spare time.
Oh, really? How much gold have you had?
No comment.
Oh.
See, I knew there was a disturbance in the force.
And you won't get my Lucky Charms either.
and Lambercy, I got your website there too, because I know you post a lot of neat things about anime and like what's going on in the world of anime, and you also have like a store for figures, so that's really cool. So I'm glad we've got 2 people on here that are very creative and very willing to share the information they have. Beard, I don't know if you have anything for you. Do you have a URL or for your lawn business or anything?
Nah.
No? Oh, okay.
I just rant and retweet stuff on.
Well, you're lucky.
X, so...
I mean, I don't have the dog for you when we showed up after the weekend.
People will have to go check that out, that replay. That was worth it.
All right. So before we get started, so yeah, again, we're talking about leprechauns tonight, and I think it's going to be fun. Now, I got some interesting facts. We're going to go over an article here in a second, but before we do this, Beard, do you believe or not believe in the little ones?
In how they're, I think, typically portrayed, no. As with most kind of fantastical creatures or beings like that, I think there probably is an origin that has been lost to time. So yeah, there was probably something that kind of led up to it. Maybe it was a creature, maybe it was legitimately just a really tiny person that got up into some mischief in the town or something. But
a really tiny person.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like this big, like.
Well, it's like the reverse of a fish story. When you say I caught one this big and it's really this big, but, he was this tall, but he was really, yay tall.
Okay, I get that. I did put a poll in the chat, so if anybody in the chat wants to answer that, what they think, that also is good. Beard of so I got too many beards here already. Tyler, what do you? I'm guessing you're gonna say no.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna say no.
Is there a reason?
Well, I mean, it's kind of known that they're mythical creatures. So no, I don't. Okay. I never thought that they were real, except for the ones that are keeping Lucky Charms.
But you said you caught some.
Well, it's just a bunch of redheads.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Lambercy, now, do you believe, since you have a little Irish in you?
I mean, I'd like to think that Rumpelstiltskin just got misclassified and he was actually a leprechaun that liked to steal children, but
Now, do any of you celebrate St. Patty's Day?
Yeah, you can drink in public.
There you go. That's the reason to celebrate it.
Of course.
That's good. All right. So yeah, Leprechauns is one of the most recognizable figures in Irish folklore, known for the mischief behavior, like you all mentioned, and guarding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Leprechauns have become synonymous with Irish culture and St. Patrick's Day celebrations around the world. So tonight we are going to delve into the history and the fascinating character exploring of this origin, descriptions, and popular myths. And I got some other stuff for you too. That looks like a pretty vintage leprechaun.
That's just a redhead guy. That's not a leprechaun.
Are you saying all leprechauns are redheads?
No, I'm saying that's just a redhead guy with a.
I'm just saying that looks like a very early draft of the Celtics logo.
It does a little bit. It does, yeah.
Well,
there you go. That's a good thing.
Fun fact:
I forgot about
Celtics is
that.
actually mispronounced and stuff. It's actually supposed to be Celtic.
Celtics, yes.
I can't stand that it's called the Boston Celtics. I really wish it was the Celtics and it was more, realistic.
I think the horse is out of the barn on that one, though. They've been calling it that for like 100 years. So,
well, when people just take the culture, but without knowing the meaning.
Well, I've heard rumors. My dad used to watch the Lakers and the Celtics or Celtics in the 80s with the basketball rivalry there. He would always say that the old Boston Garden was protected by the little green men like this.
They had a pretty good
by
run.
Little green men, he meant the parquet floor where there was literal dents in the floor and stuff that only the Celtic players knew where they were and stuff. So if you weren't from there and stuff, you could be dribbling the ball and all of a sudden the ball just stops dribbling and it's just on the ground.
Nicole, good to see you. I'm happy you are here. She says, I saw the Gaelic storm of High Kings last week. Gaelic. Okay. Yeah. I mispronounce things a lot. They are from Ireland. Gaelic Storm is the band in the movie Titanic. Wait. But didn't they sink in the boat though?
Leprechauns can't freeze to death. You should know that.
Okay. So we're hoping that Jack.
Actually, I don't know if you guys ever heard the story. There was I think he was a chef, knew the ship was going down. And so he decided to drink himself under the table and ended up surviving because of the amount of liquor in his system. That is the most Irish thing ever.
That is the most Irish thing. Now, I'm hoping that maybe Jack should have done that. It's a third class scene. Okay. With the music and dancing. Okay. I haven't seen that movie
when they're dancing, when Rose goes down to dance with Jack, I think is what she's talking about.
Okay.
There's a super Irish song that they dance to.
See, I haven't watched that movie in a long time because it just infuriates me. But we'll move on. So the origins of the leprechaun, they have roots firmly embedded in the ancient Irish folklore. The name leprechaun is from the Irish term, I think it's a leprechaun, and which itself may have evolved from the Old English I think it's luchapon or pan, meaning small body. So there you go, very little beard, like you said, little people. And some scholars suggest that the term could even from another word that means pygmy. So very, very little people. So maybe
that makes sense. So then that would be like actual people then.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe there was.
Wait, are we talking about leprechauns or are we talking about Beard of Liberty?
I don't know.
I 100% do not believe in Beard of Liberty.
You shouldn't.
No.
I know.
So it's interesting, right? Because we have what was it? Wee Man and Jackass. He was a little guy, and then you had the guy in Austin Powers. He was pretty tiny. Mm-hmm. So imagine if you saw Mini-Me. Yeah. So imagine if you saw that type of person thousands and thousands of years ago, you running around through the forest, you would probably think that was.
What about the guy from? You guys remember the Island of Dr. Moreau?
Yes.
Like the little guy that is always with Marlon Brando. Would he be a pygmy? Is that a pygmy?
I don't know. I don't know
'Cause he was
the
like super tiny.
I don't know the height thing there. But
I don't
I
know.
may be, but we always find out on the when I do things like this on the show. There was something that was unexplained long time ago. No one
Mhm.
was like, "What's that little person?" It's got to be a fairy folk, right? But yeah, they are also considered solitary fairies. Are part of the wider fairy folk. So I don't know if you believe in fairies either. Believe to inhabit the Irish landscape. How many have any of you been to Ireland at all?
No, I'd like to go.
Okay,
No.
it looks
No.
I drank a green beer once.
well.
Does that
If you
count?
ever, if you, I have
I
not
had a
either.
Guinness once.
I had a Guinness too. Yeah.
Okay, if you, yeah, you've seen the pictures though. That place
Oh,
looks
yeah.
pretty mystical, right? Like there
Yeah.
should be some magic there. Although the Leprechaun is now associated with Ireland, a concept of a small magical being who crafts shoes is not unique to Irish culture, with similar entities found in the folklore of many European cultures. So, like, whenever I see something taking a photo of some old English castle or old Ireland building, it looks very fantastic, like fantasy type of world, right? And I could
Mhm.
totally see where people would come up with these imaginations because of the mist, the like the way things glow at night. It's pretty cool. I think New Zealand's like that too, and that's probably why they filmed Lord of the Rings there. So
Yeah, it's in our human nature to try to understand something when we see it. And long ago, without a basis of like modern scientific knowledge, you went with like the old fairy tales and stories and things like that. Just because even that it may have been a completely wrong explanation for whatever they saw, trying to have that explanation and understanding makes it less scary. We're
True.
always
Well,
less afraid of something if we understand it.
even now, there's things that we can't quite make sense of. We know a lot more now than obviously they did back then and stuff. But throughout history, there's just countless examples of people getting things uh, confused or making fairy tales out of things that they don't understand just because they don't have the knowledge of it. Of course, over time, you learn about things,
Yeah.
So I can completely understand what Cap is saying with, imagine back then seeing a little person, what would you think?
yeah. My grandparents, Nicole says, my grandparents they've been to Ireland. They were able to visit the pub where the movie The Quiet Man was filmed. I've never seen that movie. Anybody seen that
Never heard of
movie?
it either.
Sorry, Nicole. We don't know what that movie is. Beer definitely doesn't know what that movie is. He doesn't watch
It would
movies.
have it would have blown your mind if I had raised my hand and said I'd seen it though.
Yeah, I would have been super excited if you did. So all right. Okay, so descriptions and deceptions. So like early descriptions of leprechauns were very
Wait, hold on.
considerably.
The Quiet Man. Isn't that didn't that come out in the 50s?
I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. I don't even know the movie. Maybe someone can research it while we're going on here.
I think I've got a machine here where I can look up stuff like that.
You do? Okay, great. The early descriptions.
It was a John Wayne movie.
Okay.
Yeah, 1952. Very good. The
wow, nice
Yeah,
job.
that's about as far as I know.
Well, apparently it was filmed in Ireland and in a pub, and Nicole's parents went there. So, leprechauns are very considerable from the modern image we have them today. So they didn't really. They look kind of like the picture you see here. They didn't really have them in green hats and red hair. They were not always associated with pot and gold, rainbows, or even dressed in green. The early folklore of leprechauns were often depicted as a small old man dressed in red, who were excellent shoemakers or cobblers. Now this one surprised me. I didn't know about this. And this behind the scenes, Tyler, you said the same thing.
No, I'd never heard the.
Why are we talking about the Oompa Loompas from the Willy Wonka factory?
And I wonder why it changed from red to green.
I'm curious about that too, because they said they were wearing red, and they there is that fairy that folktale of the shoemaker, and he's so burnt out from making shoes, right? And he can't do it, and then the elves help him out.
Yeah.
They're probably referring to a creature like this. And one thing that comes to mind when they talk about elves in red is like Santa Claus, right? A lot of the elves are in red. A lot of the old tales of that, they're also in red. So I wonder if it kind of I wonder if there's some relation to it. I have no idea, but it seems like it might be.
It's possible. There very often
little
is
side.
some kind of through line from all sorts of different tales from kind of uniform regions like you get out of Europe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Little side note though, speaking of how they were talking about how they were cobblers and depicted as short older men and stuff, if it's based on anything real, being a cobbler actually was a very dangerous profession for a very long time due to the chemicals and stuff. So it's not beyond the realm of belief that a short old man and stuff would have some crazy quirks towards the latter part of his life due to all the chemicals that he's inhaled over his lifetime. So that could also have played a role.
Oh yeah,
what they became.
Good point.
There you go. I like that. The physical
Also,
appearance.
Clockmakers, they had some weird chemicals, and
and anybody who wore, I think the old top hats or any hat.
Yeah, the Mad Hatter. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All those professions, the chemicals that they used, I mean, they don't have the safety that they do nowadays.
No, they just work with mercury.
Yeah,
that there was also the people who did tanning. Pretty much anything that had to do with any kind of leather or things along those lines and stuff was just you wouldn't expect it, but it was a very dangerous profession back then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That would slowly kill you or make you go crazy.
Yeah, and it even says that here. So their physical appearance have been described in various ways. Often take a tiny, aged a man with a beard, wearing a hat, leather apron. But their leprechauns are known for their love of mischief. They were not originally considered evil or harmful, but rather solitary and somewhat grumpy. Brings beings who mostly keep to themselves. So if you're already going crazy with the chemicals, right, and you're small and you kind of just want to be by yourself and make your shoes. So I think people would be like, "Oh, he's like a leprechaun. He's like a grumpy old beard of liberty over there making shoes," right? So
I just need to take up cobbling. I'll
go back in history and stuff. Cobblers, clockmakers, all that and the stuff were known to be solitary and stuff after taking all those chemicals. So that fits right in.
It does. Yeah.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah. So we always hear leprechauns have a pot of gold too, right? Leprechauns are always associated with hidden. Pot of gold is a more recent addition to his mythology. This pot of gold, said to be found at the end of the rainbow, has inspired countless tales. The story goes that if you catch one, he will grant you 3 wishes. And the story goes that, he'll grant you 3 wishes and give you his pot of gold to secure his release. However, leprechauns are known to be cunning and deceptive, often using their wits to escape without parting with their treasure. Now, we always talk about the crazy people, but where do you think this came from? Like, where?
I would have no idea.
I have a theory. Then again, I don't actually know exactly the time frame it came out. But I have a theory that a lot of it had to do with the Lucky Charms cereal, because ain't nobody really told me shit about it until, they're after me Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
I have a feeling it could be similar to the Easter Bunny. It was a way to market things, right, back in the day.
I was going to say it has to be some kind of commercial use for this.
Yeah, maybe early on they're like, okay, we'll use Leprechaun for St. Patty's. We got to get the kids to go find something treasure. Right, like just like Easter eggs, just like presents with Santa Claus. There just has to be something that the kids have to get excited about, maybe to even do. Has anyone
throughout
seen...
history, they've always tried to find a way to market holidays in one way, shape, or form. So if they were trying to honor the Irish, you're right. They probably used the leprechaun as a way to market them. But how are they going to make the leprechaun himself marketable? I mean, all you have to do is just look at some of these holidays and realize that it's just all commercials now.
Right.
It's all aimed towards retail.
Right. I think that you're correct. The association of leprechaun with wealth could potentially be linked to the broader European tradition of fairies and gnomes guarding treasure. Do you guard treasure, Beard Liberty?
I do. You don't
Okay.
want to try to take it.
I've seen your arsenal, so I wouldn't try to take it either. Over the time, this aspect of Leprechaun's character has been amplified, particularly in America. So, of course, we make everything bigger and crazier and better, right? So I'm sure that's where most of that came from, like we said, the marketing. The little character I found on the left there is pretty cool. He looks like a little pirate. I thought that was a nice little illustration. But when you were a kid, when you saw a rainbow, did you ever think about that? Were you like, I wonder if I can reach the end of the rainbow? Like it's
of
almost
course.
impossible. Yeah,
I wanted gold.
Like, but then until you got older, like it's impossible because you'll keep chasing it because it's always in the sky.
So I grew up in Hawaii, and there were just always rainbows. So I never even heard about the leprechauns until I was
really,
I don't know, like maybe 10 or something.
How? Okay, so when you say always,
it just always rains, and then there's just always
rainbows everywhere. Like
usually there's like sometimes 2 rainbows. So then I don't know if there's 2 pots of gold in that case.
I've seen a YouTube video a long time ago when someone saw a double rainbow and he bursted into tears.
Oh yeah,
it's
pretty common in Hawaii.
Yeah, that was really funny.
But I'm sure the
when
first
I
time
was
you see
growing
it,
up,
cool.
when I was growing up, I knew nothing about the pot of gold or anything else like that. I grew up in the system, so I was constantly moved place to place. But I was led to believe that if you see a rainbow, it was just a sign of good things to come. And that was magical and just witnessing itself and stuff. So if you saw a rainbow, you were bound to have a good day or week or whatever the case may be. It wasn't until I was probably a teenager and stuff that, I started seeing all these things and I'm like, oh, pot of gold and the end of the rainbow. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but okay.
But you brought up a good point, though, that rainbow is a sign of luck. Some people think that is treasure. Maybe it's not something you can put in your pocket or spend. But if you have luck, you have a good fortune, maybe you feel good about something. That's just as good as treasure to some people, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're having like a really bad day. So maybe that's what they're referring to. Now, before we continue on some of the article, I do have a story that I found, and then I was going to read it to you. And I thought it was a kind of a neat story of how leprechauns are just kind of get away with things. So once upon a time in the misty lands of Kerry, there lived a fellow named Tim O'Donovan, known far and wide. Of course,
his name's O'Donovan.
Far and wide for his knack for mischief and adventure. One fine day, as he roamed the countryside, Tim stumbled upon a leprechaun. A mischief grin playing on his tiny face as he tinkered with something shiny. What do you think he was playing with? Like, what do you think would be shiny? Like a stack or something, like a smoke, like a pipe or something. Now Tim wasn't
playing with his gun.
Now Tim wasn't one to let opportunity slip by. With a twinkle in his eye, he considered the little sprite and demanded to know where the whereabouts of his legendary pot of gold. The leprechaun, caught off guard, tried to wiggle out of it, claiming that he had no shovel to unearth the treasure. Very resourceful, Tim decided to mark the spot with a stick topped with his hat, releasing the leprechaun with a warning not to play any tricks. But little did he know he was about to get a taste of his own medicine. So he let the leprechaun go, and he stuck a stick in the ground with a hat. So he was going to come back, right, and get a shovel. So that's pretty good. Bright and early the next morning, armed with his trusty spade, Tim returned to claim his riches. However, what he found left him dumbfounded and cursing under his breath. Sticks protruded from the bog in all directions, each adorned with a cap identical to his own. The frustration...
he played some tricks.
Frustration gnawed at him as he searched high and low, realizing that he had been outsmarted by the cunning leprechaun. Defeated, but not without a lesson learned, Tim begrudgingly admitted defeat. The gold he had so eagerly thought slipped through his fingers, a bit reminder that sometimes even the cleverest of plans can be foiled by a bit of magic and mischief. There you go. So it's a neat story, right?
Yeah.
Neat story. Fun fact: the Donovan last name that you said, of course, his last name's Donovan, actually dates back to the 10th century, to a royal line of a medieval king.
Okay.
Oh,
Makes
Okay.
sense.
So what did you get out of that story? What did you get out of that story?
well, what I got out of that is you don't really need necessarily a bit of magic and mischief, just a bunch of sticks and a large hat collection. But I don't really know what to take from that, other than just like, I don't know. It's not like a lot of fairy tales where it's just like a scare you straight sort of thing. It's more
Yeah,
messing
there's really
with your
no
head.
moral to the story.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Some things happen.
Always carry a spade. There we go. That's the lesson. Always carry a spade.
Tyler, what did you get out of this story? What like was like? Did anything come to you from this one? Do you believe
Well,
leprechauns now?
I mean, I don't know why you would tell him not to play any tricks. I mean, that's kind of what they do. So that was kind of stupid. To just assume he's not going to.
Maybe it's trust somebody. Like don't always willfully trust someone, right? Maybe
Yeah.
be cautious of what you do.
Mhm.
Lambercy, do you have any insight? Do you have a thought? Maybe the moral behind this story?
I mean, you pretty much hit it head on. It's just don't trust people blindly. I don't trust people blindly, and let their past actions lead your opinion on them.
There you go. All right, cool. It is a nice little story. It was a fun thing I found. But yeah. Oh, by the way, the poll on the chat says 57% believe in leprechauns. So,
Okay.
so we're in the lead there, Beard.
There you go.
Right.
All right, so here's the occupation shoemaker. One of the most endearing aspects of Leprechaun's lore is his occupation as a shoemaker. Again, I never thought about this. I thought he just hung out in the forest. This is particularly interesting as it imbues this magical creature with a distinctly mundane and laborious profession. We kind of mentioned that already. The sound of Leprechaun's hammer tapping on a shoe is said to be a common indicator of his presence. So if you hear tap, 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 that he's probably making shoes and he's living in your house, right, Beard?
Yeah. If he's living in the house, he better be paying rent. Shoes aren't good enough.
Well, if you live in Texas like we do, a tap tap in your house could be rats. It could be raccoons. It could be
Yes. It could be some dude at the wrong house trying to get in through the window.
Maybe. The Leprechaun's association with shoemaking may be linked to the societal importance of shoes and the respect given to the craft of shoemaking. So back in the day, shoes were really luxurious, I guess, right? Because not a lot of people could afford them, and they weren't like you couldn't just go buy them at a shoe store for like $20, right? So
Yeah.
if you had shoes, you were important. And so if you were making those shoes, you were even more important and maybe a little crazy.
It wasn't just in Ireland either. Like it was everywhere. Like especially in Europe, the better your shoes were, the higher status you were perceived to be. And I'm sure. I mean, I've never heard a story, but I guarantee you, there's at least one poor soul who thought they could probably trick the upper class by spending his life savings on some shoes to try to live above his means, and probably got caught.
Yeah, maybe. This connection serves to ground the myth of the leprechaun in everyday life, making him a more relatable, tangible figure with the cultural imagination. So maybe it was. Maybe if you were a crazy shoemaker, maybe your nickname was a leprechaun. Maybe that was just the slang they used for you, and it just turned into this. Let's see here. Jacob Ironsign, good to see you. Pre-American Civil War, there was no left and right shoes.
What?
That
can't be true.
I don't know about that. Is that true?
I mean, it's possible if you think about it and stuff. Nowadays, we have all these fancy instruments that measure people's feet, and we have actual set sizes now and stuff where people go in, but you go in and you realize that, like, for example, I can be anywhere from a size 12.5 to a size 13.5, depending on who makes it, kind of thing. But back then and stuff, like, they're down all the way to like the curve of the feet. You got wide foot. You got all this other stuff. Back then, it was kind of, unless you had a custom made for yourself, you couldn't really have all that and stuff. So I would make sense not to have left and right if you really think about it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you got like clogs. They're all just one size.
You are true. Clogs are one size,
Yeah.
and usually slippers are too. Usually. All right. So modern culture, the leprechaun in modern culture, the leprechaun has become a major figure in pop culture worldwide, particularly in America. From St. Patty's Day parades to commercial advertisements, even cereal, from film, the leprechaun has become a universal symbol of Ireland and Irish culture. We said you were kind of joking about the Lucky Charms. Like how many of you when you were young really liked Lucky Charms? Did you enjoy them?
Of course,
Listen,
it was half marshmallows.
I used to have the people who I didn't like slave over separating the marshmallows from the cereal itself, and I would eat all the marshmallows myself.
All the marshmallows,
Stay
yeah,
away
exactly.
from my marshmallows.
My kid does that. He only eats the marshmallows. Now the other thing too was you had the bunny, the Trix. And then you had the leprechaun, and they were kind of the same cereal. But
has anyone else noticed? Speaking of Trix, has anyone else noticed that now Trix no longer comes in shapes? It's literal circles.
No.
And I'm almost wondering if maybe the reason why they no longer come in fruit shapes is because Trix are for kids.
Maybe. I don't know. You know what? I'll buy some. I'll buy a small box and I'll do some research.
Yeah, you got to do some boots on the ground research.
Yeah, we need some scientific evidence on this.
Okay, so movies and television have also played a significant role in this depicting of leprechauns, like Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Have you seen that movie? That's the clip on the left there.
I've seen clips from it, like showing off, featuring some of their forced perspective shots to get the special effects, and it's on my list of something I want to see pretty soon. I actually might watch that tonight for a stream tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, because that's a fun movie. He like, there's a bunch of little leprechauns, but they're little. It is a kind of a revolutionary movie about the forced perspective and showing almost kind of what they did in Lord of the Rings, right? And then you have, of course, the leprechaun over there that eats people, and they turn into a horror meal, a terrifying flick.
Yes,
with Jennifer Aniston.
Greatest movie ever.
Yeah. So Alaska's special effects at the time were great, but terrible movie. Oh, you don't like the Darby O'Gill? Man.
The better one was Leprechaun in the Hood. I don't know if any of you guys saw that.
Yes, that was Leprechaun.
That was
there was
great right there.
Quite a bit of Leprechaun
movies.
Space
too.
Yes.
Did he?
Yeah.
Now,
him and Jason in space.
That's right.
Look, Tyler, you mentioned earlier about the story. Whether we read the story wasn't, or maybe it was Beard. It wasn't. The story I read wasn't like terrifying. The leprechaun from the movie, Leprechaun, he would be more of like a Hans, like the Grimm's brothers, right? Type of leprechaun. Yeah. He's very creepy,
right?
And he did mischief things in that movie. I think he tricked them a little bit.
Yeah, too. I think he was like killing people in that.
Yeah, but they would make wishes, right? And he would kind of grant them in evil ways. Hey, what's up, Roman? Good to see you. But so we got Darby McGill, the leprechaun there. There was another movie there that's listed, The Luck of the Irish. I was always I always liked the first Leprechaun. I thought that was pretty funny. There's other movies out there for kids. There's all kinds of stuff with leprechauns and movies, but these are the two that all people always kind of go to with modern culture. Now, St. Patty's Day is also a big day, like we said, for leprechauns. The image of leprechauns have become a staple of St. Patrick's Day celebrations, especially in the United States. So every March 17th, leprechauns are depicted everywhere, from greeting cards to decorative banners, often show with ironic pot of gold. The association with St. Patrick's Day has amplified the leprechaun's prominence in popular culture and solidified his image as a cheerful and mischief symbol of the Irish heritage. Now, when you celebrated St. Patrick's Day, you said you went out drinking. You drank green beer, right? Did you ever see Did you ever start seeing leprechauns after your like fifth or sixth beer, Tyler?
No, you usually see police.
Okay.
I mean, at least it's honest.
They're
I remember
usually dressed in like black or blue, but not green.
So when I lived in Arizona, there was a bar in Tempe, Arizona. It was a very famous like Irish bar. I don't even think it's there anymore. But they would always throw the biggest and the craziest St. Patty's Day. But for you to show up, of course you had to pay the cover, but you had to pay the cover, and you also had to wear something green. They would not let you. They would not let you in the bar around. And it was like a whole weekend. It was like from Friday.
Yeah, that should be a rule for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, you got to have green on.
So everyone who showed up to that bar around St. Patty's Day, it was like a 2-day event. You would come and go, and then you had to show up with your green and stuff. It was fun. I'm not sure what they put in the green beer, but
it's probably just the same stuff. I mean, I grew up, and the way we celebrated when I was a kid and stuff was everything was green. It wasn't just you wore green; like all your food was green. It was food coloring that they put in your food. So it wouldn't surprise me if they put green food coloring in your beer too.
Yeah.
Some people say
had all the other colors except for green.
Some people say you can get away with orange. You can.
Listen, there's a reason that I say sacrifices must be made. Those who say orange, will be the sacrifices.
Okay. So hold on, Jacob. Does that mean before 1820 they did have left and right shoes, and they just?
Is he still on the shoe topic down there?
Yeah.
I did further investigation. Jacob says between 1820 to before the Civil War, American soldiers didn't use right or left shoes.
But that would mean before 1820 that they did. Is that what he's saying?
No, he's saying after the Civil War and stuff. That's when they started using left and right.
Okay.
Yeah, but he says between.
I mean, does anyone really know what Ironside's saying at any given time?
And Roman says one of the movies he likes is that's Smell Mo Neat. Okay, he says another one.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Cannibal Leprechauns and
projection. Yeah.
Cannibal Leprechauns and Their Teeth of Gold is a classic. Okay. And
Cannibal Leprechauns.
Yeah, this is Tyler's movie. So
yeah.
So I just remember St. Patty's Day being fun. I do remember the parades too that they would do. They're always fun to see. Despite the popular association, it's important to note that Leprechaun's connection to St. Patty's Day is more of a product of a modern reinterpretation than the ancient tradition. St. Patrick's Day originally served as a commemoration to St. Patrick and the patron saint of Ireland, with the figure of the leprechaun becoming integrated into celebrations over time. So they were never connected. So I don't think
like y'all said earlier,
it was all commercialization, like we hypothesized.
I'm surprised it wasn't Hallmark that started it.
Yeah, so St. Patrick.
Honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't the De Beers company and stuff. Oh, let's make every kiss begin with K and stuff, so that everybody has to buy all these diamonds.
There you go. So yeah, St. Patrick probably never even liked leprechauns. He probably didn't believe in them like a beard. So let's see. The poll now is 50-50, by the way.
Oh.
And then Jacob's still on the shoe thing. He said the first left and right shoes were invented in 1854. Ouch. They must have just been round slippers, right? What do you
they're
think,
probably like those. I mean, you don't always get them. Most of the sandals and flip flops and everything are left and right now, but every now and then you'll get one where it's not left and right. So it was probably like those where it's just universal.
Yeah, I would assume. I would assume that too. Okay, so there are some other competitive or comparative, however you want to say it, folklore to leprechauns. Leprechauns mostly uniquely to Irish. Similar characters can be found in other cultures, other folklore. For instance, the English have the brownie, a small industrious fairy that assists with household chores. Now, there's a movie out there called The Brownies and a book.
Why does that sound like Dobby?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so brownies are people in your house, little people, just like the leprechauns, but they help you fix things. So like, if
it does sound like Dobby. Yeah.
like your pipes leaking or something. Yeah. The Scandinavian, I think it's Tomet or Tomp, or Nice, is a small creature that takes care of farmers, home, and children, and rewards hard work, but plays pranks if neglected or mistreated. So they're just like these little people all over the place.
Yeah.
Beard.
They're just living in your house. You don't even know it.
They're probably in your beard.
Yeah.
These parallels underscore the universally of certain themes in folklore, such as existence of small, industrious beings that can bring fortune and misfortune. So be nice to the little ones, I guess.
Yeah. Don't overlook them. Watch
But
your
did
step.
you ever read the book, The Brownies? Did you ever read a book like that? Yeah, there was a book, a kid's book, a children's book, and it was about that. Like the family moved into this old English home, and then all of a sudden, like things started missing, or like things would start. Like the dad would be like, I gotta fix this, and then it would magically get fixed. So, I wish I had one in my house. That would be kind of neat, right?
Oh yeah.
Influence on modern perception of fairies. The leprechaun is one of the most recognizable fairy folk, and has shaped perceptions of the constitutes of a fairy. Instead of the ethereal winged creatures often portrayed in popular culture, the leprechaun reminds us that fairies, according to traditional folklore, can be diverse group, including small crafty beings deeply connected to the natural world. So there was fairies with wings, and then these guys running around. So do you believe yet, Tyler?
After we got into the pygmy stuff, I'm kind of. I mean, I did kind of that makes sense as to why you could, because even the name sounds similar. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I can see how that could come out of pygmies. Even
Sicilians
if they're, like,
have little
forest,
people.
They're probably wearing like leaves and stuff, which would be green,
Okay.
typically. So yeah.
Well,
I've come around on that one.
If you're Italian and you're Sicilian, you have little people, and they call them meatballs.
Yeah.
Listen, I still believe that fairies exist and stuff because I know of one in real life, and I can name the fairy off the top of my head because they're popular right now. That fairy's name is Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. All
I see what
righty.
you did there.
Nice. I like it. All right. So here we go. We're going to wrap it up here a little bit. The leprechaun has a symbol of Irish heritage. Over time, the leprechaun has evolved from minor character to folklore to a national symbol. Today, he is a representative of Irish around the world, a connection to ancient culture heritage that remains vibrant and relevant. The leprechaun with his craft, nature, and enduring appeal continues to capture the imagination, reminding all of us the richness and deep of Irish folklore. There you go. So
they're also known for getting drunk and fighting.
Yes, and I think leprechauns did that.
Not all good.
Now, I promised you that I have something special to share. Now, you all read that article. I shared that article with, but I did not share you this. Someone.
Oh God. I don't even want to know.
Did you catch one?
Someone. I want you to decide if someone actually caught a leprechaun, or if this is a real leprechaun or a fake leprechaun. I want you to tell me if you otherwise. Now, this is supposedly a mummified leprechaun that someone found in a castle. I can't pronounce it because it's very
Is
Celtic.
it in Ireland?
It's in Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah. So here you go. Here's the mummified.
So
listen, you can't just take Dobby and dress him up in leprechaun's clothes and call it a leprechaun.
But this is him. He's got the hat. He's got the gold. He's got the pants. He's got the boots.
Yeah, but Dobby is now a free elf. That doesn't mean that the free elf wants to be a leprechaun.
I don't know. I mean, this is pretty.
This is a little too stereotypical for me to think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's just starting to look like the goblins and Lord of the Rings.
Well, you don't know. I mean, when you get mummified, your skin tightens up and your teeth kind of stay there, and you don't think this is real?
You don't think that the clothes would last that long, like 200 years or whatever?
It's
Like
mummified.
the clothes would not be
It's
the same color
mummified.
that they. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Okay, well there you go. There,
And also,
the clothes
his
are way
skin-
too bright colored for it to be real.
Is that beard growing out of his bones?
he's got mutton chops. He's got mutton chops.
How?
Well,
His skin
well-
fell off.
Well, I mean, if you look at mummies, they have hair still. Hey,
No.
Beard.
Don't look like it's not that thick.
Can you take care of the little weird bot that we got going on? So yeah, I mean this is
I just noticed it.
Alaska Jeff says it's a demon. Okay.
Oh, I thought the bot you were talking about was Alaska Jeff. I was thinking, no,
That makes it funnier.
that's a real guy. I've met him. Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't
Well, I
call
mean-
him a bot.
I mean, it's close, but
Yeah,
that's just
okay.
mean.
Roman says this is lofty.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Could be.
I mean,
looks pretty-
there a lot of effort was put into this. A heck of a lot
Alaska
more
just
effort.
goes, what?
What do you-
That's
some
what
of
we would have
these- some
bought
of
would
these-
say.
Some of these mummified things come up and pop up in the news every now and then are very, very clearly cheaply baked. This, at least some effort was put into it. I'm not buying it, but I like it.
okay, so you
I
are
will say
right.
that-
So
yeah.
this was a leprechaun made by someone. You can go to this website right here. A props figure that was created by someone.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's actually created back in 2013. So I don't know if they're even still available, but yeah, they.
I told you Alaska Jeff was a bot. Go look at what
See,
he's doing
now,
now.
yeah, now it's all coming out. See, we need to have him do that little thing where he has to pick out which one is motorcycles or whatever before coming in here.
So
the whole thing is like even though I don't really think that hair could ever be that thick and stuff, I might have been able to be fooled just because you're right. Some mummified mummies do have hair, but the clothes are done so poorly that if it was a real leprechaun and stuff and they were mummified and stuff, the clothes would not be that bright colored. Like you wouldn't see the green anymore.
That
Well,
would fade away and it'd just be brown or something.
Yeah.
well, this person made that, and I think it looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks good, but it's 100% not real. And it's painfully obvious.
Now, one of the guests that was going to show up on the show, Death Row, he wanted to tell me that he found a news clip of another incident where someone captured or could have captured or tried to capture a leprechaun, but this was in the hood. So it's right up there with Leprechaun in the Hood for you.
It's a documentary I saw. Yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood. Yeah.
So let's listen a little bit to this newsreel here. Let's see.
In time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton
She almost
area
said-
of Mobile say taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community. Many of you bringing binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
Look at that
Man,
phone.
it look like a leprechaun to me. All you gotta do is look
I
up.
have a feeling we're gonna get hit with something so sideways.
Eyewitnesses say the leprechaun only comes out at night. If you shine a light in its direction, it suddenly disappears. This amateur sketch.
How did I know it's gonna be so sideways?
I know that guy. He's a good guy. He's very chill.
Yeah.
Bring Chris Farley back.
That's probably Chris
Oh.
Farley
R.I.P.
there. I mean, it's got no mouth, but I like it. So
Which resembles what many of you say the leprechaun looks like. Others find it hard to believe and have come up with their own theories and explanations for the image.
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead.
It could be a crackhead. Yeah.
Get down to the bottom of this. Yeah, it's still on there, guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
This guy helping to direct traffic says he's prepared for his encounter with the leprechaun. He's suited up from head to toe.
As far as our spells right here, this is a special leprechaun flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
Others just came to get.
I didn't know there was a leprechaun flute to catch them.
I'm shocked beyond belief on that one and stuff.
Yeah.
They have leprechaun flutes and weapons and things to protect themselves now.
Yeah.
Lucky in hopes a pot of gold may be buried under this tree.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know where the gold at. I want the gold. Give me the gold. I want the gold.
This is Brian Johnson, NBC 15 News.
People will do anything for a pot of gold.
God.
I mean, anything.
You know what I like? I like the.
I'm gonna need some Guinness.
Yeah.
Like somebody.
I love the picture. I mean, that's just fantastic. This guy here, this lady here,
and it's
this
his amateur sketch. No shit. You don't say.
I think
no. You know what? That's not an amateur sketch. That's a Peter Griffin sketch. This guy right here.
Yeah, I think this lady though nailed it on the head with remember we talked earlier about the shoemakers smelling chemicals and stuff like that. I think this lady got
hold to the wrong stuff, and it told me to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
I think that lady just nailed it. What a
Yeah.
Like that should be a ringtone of someone right here. Just
and it told me to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
I like the passenger behind her is just losing it.
Yeah, this is the flute here, everybody. If you missed that, this is the flute.
This is a special leprechaun flute.
That's a flute. It looks like a. What do you think that looks like? What do you?
It's not a flute. I can tell you that.
It looks like a duck whistle that failed the inspection.
Looks like something he removed from a sink in his garage.
Yeah.
I was not expecting all that.
You weren't?
No.
Look, it's the same Late Night with Cap. We're gonna get serious, but you'll still have stuff like that, man. So come on, it's okay. Oh, look at my mom says, "Have a great night, everyone." There you go. Have a good night, everyone. All right. So there you go. There was our leprechaun stories, a leprechaun tale. Did you learn anything tonight about Leprechaun's beard? I'm gonna go around the table. Did you learn anything about Leprechauns?
Yeah, I had no idea about the history of like being a cobbler or shoemaker and some of the things that were brought to the table about the chemicals that used involved in that.
Crackheads.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's usually a basis for something like this. And I'm just imagining, especially if you've done it your entire life, those chemicals may mess up. Actually, because you probably started as a kid working with your dad, and you might have suffered, and not grown as tall as you needed to be. And as we age, we hunch over more, especially when you're working on something that, is on a table like this. So it makes the man look even smaller. And I had no idea that any of that was even remotely related.
Yeah,
So
me either.
that was pretty
Me
interesting.
either. Tyler, what did you learn? What did you learn today about the?
I learned that there's probably a legitimate origin for him. That that was surprising.
Okay.
And then also the shoe thing, which we've already talked about. I didn't know that was part of the lore.
Yeah, Lambercy, since you're Irish, what did you learn from the today?
Don't mess with the Irish when they're drinking. They'll come up with some crazy ass stories that'll get generations going about leprechauns and shit.
Also, if you catch one, don't let them go, and don't tell them, "Hey, tell me where your treasure is," and then stick your stick in there. They'll fool you. Yeah. Jeff learned that Beard is a leprechaun.
How many times do I have to say he's a gnome?
Yeah, he's getting very upset. People, he's a gnome, not a leprechaun.
That whole "you got gnomes," that was actually Beard who voiced it.
That's good. All right. So again, everyone, thanks for showing up tonight. I think I had about 10 people come and go, so that's great for showing up. Oh, look, AJ showed up right when we're about ready to end.
Typical.
He said leprechauns weren't his thing, or he would have been on the panel. I think he won't really want to be on the panel. It's about the cats and Lion King. So
The cats?
He's a really big fan of Nala.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I think we might need to, find him a counselor.
Yeah, he likes the beastie stuff.
A bit of a furry, is he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So when we do like werewolf or like maybe we can do like anything with the beast.
I just got one question for you, AJ. Who hurt you?
I mean, he is right though. Back in the day when Disney was doing things right, Nala had that look.
She sure did, man. I don't know how that was in a PG movie. That was suggestive.
All right, I'm going to give you everyone another chance to kind of spout out what you're doing later this week or what you're just working on. Beard, since you're the traveling gnome of YouTube, what do you got going on?
Let's see here. Tomorrow evening, 5 Pacific, I'll be on Roman of the Empire's channel. We'll be talking about some favorite Irish movies. I'm going to bring some Irish movies that I've recently looked at because I don't really watch movies, but I tried to back out, but he said, show up anyway. So maybe I'll just be there to learn about some films that I should watch. Let's see. And I think actually my Saturday is not booked this week, but come next week on Monday, you and R2 will be out on your mandate, leaving the After the Weekend show to me.
Yeah.
So it'll be my first time running a stream. And
Okay.
I've got a couple of buddies, Jacob Ironside and Blair DeBlair will be joining me. We'll be talking about the movie Dragnet from 1987.
I'm really bummed because I like that movie. I wish you would have picked it for one of us that we were doing, but it's okay. It's fine. No, I'm excited for you. I think you're going to do great. Yeah. So if anyone who wants to give support to good old Beard of Liberty, go on by to After the Weekend on Monday, 8:30 Eastern or Central, and give them some support out there. Let's see here.
I think you'll enjoy hosting one of these shows for once and stuff.
Yeah,
it's definitely a different feeling, but I think you do good in it.
Here's AJ's suggestion: The Luck of the Irish on the Disney Channel. So I think Roman mentioned those earlier. Tyler,
Irish Spring, very good
soap. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I forgot about that. Tyler, again, what do you got doing? What's going on with your movies?
I'm editing my second movie. My first one just popped up on Amazon. It's available right now. This little website right there has got everything, trailers and actually links to the Amazon place where you can rent or buy the Smell No Evil. It's Little Big Movies, by the way. He put moves.
Yeah, he did that twice.
That's fine. But yeah, I'm doing that, and then I think Monday I'm probably going to be back on Ryan Legion's channel doing another review of the worst season of Game of Thrones. So we'll probably be back there Monday.
So you're doing 8?
8 what?
You're doing 7
season? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we just did episode 1, and it just goes downhill from there.
Yeah, it does. Lambercy, what you got going on again?
Well, apart from my working from home and working on the website and everything else like that, I'm currently in the process of doing my next podcast episode. I usually do once a month, but I'm doing a special tribute to Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, who recently passed away. And, I'm going to try to get it done by the end of this weekend to get it out, to commemorate all that he's accomplished throughout his lifetime, not just with Dragon Ball, but the impact he made on anime as a whole.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was kind of sad because he was young.
Yeah.
68 is way too young.
They said that he had a brain tumor, or at least that's what his assistant said, that he had a undiagnosed brain tumor or something like that.
Yikes. Okay. Well, I would say he's in a better place right now, and maybe he's just making anime up there with the angels. So, all right. So everyone, thanks again for stopping by. Next week, again, this is going to be kind of a monthly show, maybe 2 times a month. I'm not quite sure yet, but the next time we're going to be on, I'll let you know through the community tab and what our topic is. We may have these same guests on. We may have some others. We don't know. But I'm excited to do this kind of stuff on and on. So everyone, you have a safe rest of the week, and everyone else, I will talk to you later. And again, guys, thanks for showing up tonight. This has been great. I'm glad we were able to do this. So, all right, everyone, later.